Hello, very good morning and welcome to Athavan newspaper highlights. This is Edward Udedas Devasagayam Pillai with the highlights of today's English newspapers. As usual, we have three newspapers for the highlights: Daily Mirror, Daily News and Ceylon Today. Firstly, let's have a look on the Daily Mirror. The main headline of the Daily Mirror says, Vijitha road accident, Herath arrested, granted bail. Janata Vimukti Peramuna Propaganda Secretary and MP Vijitha Herath was arrested by the Velikada police and released on police bail yesterday morning following an accident at Rajagiriya, police said. GMOA warns of longer strike next week. The Government Medical Officers Association yesterday threatened to resort to strike action next week even though today's strike ended at noon. Another highlight says, rains in some parts of the country, Kaluganga, Nilvalaganga water levels rising. The water levels in the Kaluganga, Nilvalaganga and Attanagalu Oya are rising as a result of the heavy rains in several parts of the country, the Disaster Management Center said yesterday. I wasn't under the influence of liquor. While rejecting allegations that he was under the influence of liquor at the time of Monday's accident in Rajagiriya, Janata Vimukti Peramuna MP Vijitha Herath said yesterday he admitted committing a traffic offence by not avoiding an accident and driving carelessly. Don't reappoint Arjun Mahendran. Joint opposition. The joint opposition has written to President Maithripala Sirisena urging him not to reappoint Central Bank Governor Arjun Mahendran when his current term ends. Another highlight says, misuse of vehicles, FCID quizzes Veeratunga and Samaravira. Former Presidential Secretary Lalit Veeratunga and National Freedom Front MP Jayantha Samaravira were interrogated by the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division yesterday over the alleged misuse of Presidential Secretariat vehicles in the 2015 presidential election campaign. Healthcare services in most hospitals at a standstill. The healthcare services in most of the hospitals countrywide came to a standstill yesterday as a result of the countrywide token strike by members of the Government Medical Officers Association. FCID records Ranjan's statement. The Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division yesterday recorded a statement from popular actor and MP Ranjan Ramanayaka over his allegations about former Minister Kehelia Rambukwala receiving 20 million rupees from the President's Fund for treatment of an injury following an accident in Australia. FCID grills Nisanga Senadipati. The chairman of Avant Security Services Private Limited over an alleged unscrupulous transfer of 22 million rupees to a private firm owned by MP Namal Rajapaksa. Secondly, let's move to Daily News. The main headline of the Daily News says, PSC suspends Palpitas services. Commission informed of Palpitas charges last Friday, Secretary. Former Divinaguma Director General also suspended. The Public Services Commission yesterday decided to suspend the services of former Telecommunications Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka Director General Anusha Palpita, who has been indicted by the Attorney General in connection with the criminal misappropriation of 600 million rupees from the TRCSL. The government came under fire by certain quarters, especially civil society activists, after the media reported the appointment of Palpita as an additional secretary to the Home Affairs Ministry, even though indictments were served on him last year. AG to probe kidney racket case. The Colombo Crimes Division yesterday informed court that it had commenced a comprehensive investigation into the kidney racket involving Indians and Sri Lankans under the close supervision of the Attorney General. The CCD told Colombo Chief Magistrate Jihan Pilapitia that documents pertaining to the kidney transplant surgeries had been formulated to the name of Indian medical practitioners with the rubber stamps and this matter needed to be thoroughly investigated. The CCD told court that a Deputy Solicitor General representing the Attorney General's department would appear in court on the next hearing date. Kerala cannabis worth 40 million rupees seized. A large stock of Kerala cannabis valued at nearly 40 million rupees hidden in Mamepuriya Kalpitiya was seized by officers of the Excise Special Operation Unit during a raid around 2:30 am yesterday. President proposes maximum VAT on facts. During yesterday's cabinet meeting, President Maithripala Sirisena proposed to increase the VAT on cigarette up to the maximum level. He also directed the finance minister not to provide any relief for tobacco companies and also not to promote the tobacco industry. Following an issue which was discussed at a function President participated in the morning, he has directed Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake to submit a full report mentioning reasons for not to increase VAT on cigarettes. Meanwhile, President Maithripala Sirisena yesterday vowed to submit an immediate proposal to the cabinet with regard to the implementation of the correct tax on cigarettes. The president also said that around 25,000 people die of smoking-related diseases in Sri Lanka per year, and Sri Lankans spend over 500 million rupees on cigarettes and alcohol per day. The president further said the owners of tobacco companies use various gimmicks and tricks to attract Sri Lankans to their products, adding that the owners of Lanka Tobacco Company are not Sri Lankans and it was named as Lanka Tobacco Company just to mislead Sri Lankans. Finally, let's move to Ceylon Today. The main headline of the Ceylon Today says, GMOA strike cripples hospitals. Hundreds of thousands of patients were turned away yesterday from state hospitals island-wide, with the GMOA strike leaving the ordinary man's only health care centres deserted, with hardly anyone able to cope with outpatient department cases on time. The island-wide strike was called in protest against the unilateral alteration of the post-intern vacancy list drawn up by the Health Ministry together with heads of institutions and the GMOA by the Director OMS. Though doctors at state hospitals in the Colombo, Gambaha and Kaigol districts did not walk out on strike, services at most other hospitals in all other districts came to a standstill, except that the admission of patients and surgeries had been carried out as usual, hospital sources said. Another highlight says, strike a success. GMOA media spokesman Dr. Naveen De Soisa said over 10,000 doctors from 1,672 hospitals countrywide had participated in the strike action launched by them yesterday. The GMOA staged a token strike yesterday from 8 a.m. to 12 noon in protest against the post-intern vacancy list prepared by the Health Ministry in consensus with the heads of institutions, and the GMOA being unilaterally altered by the Director OMS due to political intervention. Another highlight says, Constitutional Report to PM. The final report of the Public Representation Committee on Constitutional Reforms, which was established to harness opinions and ideas of the public for a new constitution, was handed over at Temple Trees to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe yesterday by Chairman of the committee, Attorney at Law Lal Vijayanayake. With that, let's come to an end of today's paper highlights. We will come with more news tomorrow morning. Thanks for listening to Athavan Newspaper Highlights.